Motherfuckers playing with me, bro. Real shit. One of them was a bitch and fucking bit me. I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me and shit. Think I'm always playing and shit. Call me bitch and shit. Not no fucking bitch, bro. At the end of the day, I'ma stand up for my fucking self because I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me, bro. Real shit.
Come on, man. We're leaving, man. We're walking away, bro. Let's not take it serious. Let's go. Come on, Roger. Let's go. Let's go, Roger. Let's go. Roger, let's go. Roger, I'm telling you, let's go. You listen to me. Listen to me, Roger. You need to listen to me right now, Roger. Let's go.
I don't give a fuck. You guys trying to jump me and shit?
Let's go.
You ain't gonna do shit to me, bro.
Let's go, Roger.
You can't do shit to me. You can't fuck with me, bro.
Roger, let's go.
You can't fuck with me.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. And we got a couple of things we have to discuss in regards to this whole situation that's still ongoing with the whole Rampage Jackson controversy. We got some updates on Stu's health, Syko Stu's health, Rampage Jackson, Roger's dad, he responds. Jim Cornette ended up going back and forth with this idiot on fucking Twitter. It's a lot of stuff, so stay tuned, because this is I didn't really expect this. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's just me being locked inside my stupid wrestling bubble and not recognizing that homie's father is one of the biggest UFC fighters and arguably one of the biggest MMA fighters of all time. You know, you're so locked up in your wrestling bubble, you forget that when famous people intrude wrestling, it's always going to make it way more of a bigger spectacle than it already is, whether it's positive or whether it's negative, right? And this right here is blowing up. This shit's been trending all day. So let's kick it off with Rampage Jackson response. Although I'm pretty sure some of you guys are aware of it, we're going to read it right now, okay? So Rampage Jackson says, I want to clear up the misinformation about my son, Raja. Misinformation? Okay, we'll keep reading. What misinformation? There's a camera. Okay, whatever. Let's read. Let's see. I've been confirmed that the wrestler Stuart Smith, aka Syko Stu, is awake and stable. Raja was unexpectedly hit in the side of the head by him moments before Smith's match. Raja was told that he could get his payback in the ring. I thought it was a part of the show. It was bad judgment and a work that went wrong. Raja is a MMA fighter, not a pro wrestler, and had no business involved in an event like this. I don't condone my son's actions at all. He suffered a concussion from sparring only days ago and had no business doing anything remotely close to physical contact. As a father, I'm deeply concerned with his health and the well-being of Mr. Smith. That being said, I'm very upset that any of this happened, but my main concern now is that Mr. Smith will make a speedy recovery. I apologize on his behalf and to Kick for the situation. Oh, so by the way, if you guys didn't know, I won't leave this link down because I don't really feel like it's a big talking point, but apparently he was streaming this on that Kick platform. Shocker, right? All the degenerate shit happens over there, but he got kicked off of that. No pun intended. He got kicked off of Kick. We should say something because I've been seeing a lot of diabolical bullshit on Kick. You have to be an irreprehensible piece of shit to get kicked off that fucking platform, and that happens to be the case. He got kicked off of Kick. But really quick, because there is context, apparently reader's context, he got tagged, he got community noted. The incident prior to the wrestling match in the ring occurred hours beforehand. Rampage insinuates the two events occurred closely in time as if his son's actions were an immediate response to something, which is false. Roger's actions were premeditated, not a heat of passion. Yeah, so what he's trying to do, so as you guys seen when you watched the last video, which I mistakenly called it glass, I got corrected a couple times in the comment section. He took a beer can and he smashed it over Roger's head, right? But it was a work, and he thought that Roger was a worker, and everybody was telling him, no, he's not a worker. And he immediately apologized multiple times about what he did. He did not know that Roger was just a regular dude, right? And Roger took advantage of that. And according to some of the people that I was seeing in chat and inside the comments, apparently, from my understanding, they were gassing him up inside his chat, telling him, hey, do this, do this, do this. And apparently he took that and he ran into the ring and he did what he did. But that was later on in the day, or maybe even nighttime. I think it was nighttime, because when he left the building, it was nighttime. The incident with the beer can shit happened in the daytime. So none of these things are closely connected. It wasn't a heat of passion. Homie did it as a retaliation because his fans gassed him up and because he wanted to be a big boy. So I'm not even sure what the hell but what is the misinformation though? Because he said there's some misinformation, but I don't see like what's the information that he's clearing up. I mean, he flat out lied right here by stating that, oh, you know, both of these things were in close proximity, or maybe he didn't lie, but he lied through omission. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about, and everything else is kind of yeah, thank you, Sherlock. We kind of figure all this shit. He's an MMA fighter. He made a bad judgment. Yeah, no doubt. As a matter of fact, you being his father, and somebody told me in the comment section too, apparently Rampage, got into a fight with his son a couple of years ago, like an actual fight, and then Rampage bragged about him being in the hospital or some shit like that. Don't know the extent of whether or not that happens to be true, but if that's true, I mean, bro, it feels like everything is leading back up to how you fucking parented him. So if anything, it comes back to you in the end of the day. Now, homie's a grown-ass man, 25 years old. I get all that, but why is he acting out like this? There's clearly some fucking screws loose, and it has to be you and his mom that raised him to be like this. So I don't know, like, it kind of comes back to you in the end of the day as far as how you parented him. So next thing I want to talk about also, which I feel like is probably one of the more important things in this video, is Syko Stu's health. So this guy named Marcus Ham, he ended up posting this. I guess he's friends with Stu. He said, I know this is all over the media right now, and I have absolutely nothing to say regarding what transpired, but I want everyone who is concerned for Stuart Smith to know that he is awake right now, but in bad shape. So please keep him in your prayers. It's going to be a long road to recovery. Which, yeah, look, so Buddy got punched so many times in the face and the head. I think he caught him in the chest a couple times. And mind you, he was unconscious. He already got slammed on the back of his head. So, you know, that's probably like an automatic concussion if he got knocked unconscious. And then for that to be the follow-up of this guy legitimately grounding and pounding this dude, hitting him multiple, for sure dozens upon dozens of times in the face and the head. You see him in the middle of the ring in a still shot where he's in a pool of his own blood. It's bad. It is gruesome. Again, go back to the last video if you want to like get the initial setup. But then again, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have covered this, but I left the link in my own personal description box if you want to click on it to see the video for yourself. It's horrible. It's a horrific sight to see. But yeah, I can only assume it's going to be a long recovery. I hope he makes it out of this, because it's not as if he's out of the danger zone, right? The way he makes it sound like is that this guy is probably still in critical condition. And you can only assume what can come out of this. This guy is relatively old. You know what I mean? For sure, he's got to be like in his 50s at the very least, right? He's going to have contusions. He might even have brain injury. You know, multiple head injuries overall. Like, this is horrific. Horrific. But it is a good sign at the very least that, you know, he's awake. So, you know, all the best wishes to Stu, man, to see such a horrific incident happening for something that was so innocuous for the most part and such an innocent thing. You know, this guy apologized multiple upon multiple times, saying that he had no clue that the guy wasn't in on it. Because I'm seeing idiots online argue saying, well, I mean, when he hit him in the head, Stu was still trying to antagonize him. No, he was working, and he thought Raja was in on the fucking work. Not until he seen him started to like bulk up a little bit and take his shit off and his demeanor changed completely is when he recognized, oh shit, he's not a worker. And then his homies told him that he wasn't a worker, and he immediately tried to shake his hand, and Raja refused his handshake. Then he came back and tried to smooth things over even further and shook his hand. Then he went to a table, and Raja came over to that table, and he furthermore apologized and told him that it was a complete misunderstanding. And mind you, it's not as if he hit him with something that was dangerous, but he hit him with a gimmick. Okay, a gimmick is something that is well, a gimmick has a bunch of connotations, but in this instance, a gimmick is simply something that looks like it's going to hurt, or something that looks like it's supposed to do a certain amount of damage, but in reality, it's taken apart and put back together, or immediately taken away from the power or the effect of the object that's going to be used on the person. and it's not going to do even remotely close to as much damage as it's perceived that it's going to do. Meaning he hit him with that cannon and it probably didn't do a fucking thing to him. Just going off of his reaction alone, he didn't even flinch. So really, he just beat the dog shit out of this guy for literally no reason, even after he apologized 1,000,001 times. A receipt. You see people say, receipt, 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 which is a nice segue into what else I want to talk about, which is this absolute baboon going back and forth with Jim Cornette on this whole situation regarding the incident in terms of what happened with Rampage Jackson. So Jim Cornette put out this tweet. He said, apparently this moron, son of Rampage Jackson, decides not only to commit attempted murder, which is what it is, but confesses to it beforehand on a tape that he's the one recording and broadcasting. Didn't criminals used to try to get away with shit? I'm going back out in the yard with my limb lopper. Essentially, Jim Cornette making fun of all these streamers nowadays. And it's not just him. The amount of streamers who go out nowadays and they commit all these horrific crimes, all for the sensationalism of the clout that they're starting to get at that point in time for whatever they're doing. And mind you, sometimes the whole point of them getting the police involved is to heighten the clout that they're currently chasing at the moment. It's insanity, pure insanity. These people don't give a fuck who they harm. They don't give a fuck who they're going around antagonizing and traumatizing and harassing. If it means they can get those sweet fucking likes, if it means they can get those sweet fucking views, which is never long lasting, it is never sustained. Because look, in order for you to keep getting clout, you have to do the next dumb shit, and the next dumb shit has to be bigger than the last dumb shit you just did. But nevertheless, after Jim Cornette said that, this fucking lobotomite actually chimed in and he replied to Jim. He said, "You're wrong. They should have explained how to get a receipt. They didn't. They just told him to get his payback in the ring. He's not an entertainer. He's a fighter. Sorry, Jim. Wrong on this one." I love when people say stuff like that too. Wrong on this one, as if that's a fact. No, that's your opinion. Your fucking retarded opinion, by the way. So let me ask you guys a question. For anybody who doesn't know what a receipt is, if you're just like coming through here, a receipt is essentially after a person hits you legitimately. A shoot is what most wrestling fans and wrestlers say. If they hit you legitimately in the face or if they slam you too hard, typically a wrestler will come back with just as much power in regards to what they received in regards to the legitimate slam or a legitimate hit, right? That's a receipt. Essentially, I'm going to give you what you gave me type shit, right? Just typically a response to let a wrestler know to slow the fuck down, right? That's what a receipt is. Not getting hit with a fucking gimmick and then you respond by going in there and trying to murder somebody. Why this has to be explained is absolute asinine. And the amount of people in my comment section, now granted, I will say that they're in the vast minority, but it's like 3, 4, maybe 5 comments who are actually going out of their way to justify it. It's like they don't recognize the fact that this guy tried to murder somebody. Do you not understand that? Again, I just earlier talked about being within this wrestling space, within this wrestling bubble. Step out for a second. Lock in, kids. Lock in. He tried to murder somebody. A guy hit him in the head with a gimmick can, thinking he was a worker, and his response was to later on that night, after having and getting an apology multiple times, was to sneak the guy, pick him up when he wasn't looking, drop him on his head, get on top of him, and commence to hitting him in the head and face area for well over dozens upon dozens of times. Let me see if that's your case. Can you imagine him going to a fucking judge and being like, "Your Honor," like imagine this doofus being his lawyer and actually standing there, "Your Honor, let me make this known, okay? My client, he is not guilty and he is innocent because he was giving that guy a receipt." What's a receipt, you say? Whoa, and Carney talk. What's Carney talk? Well, let me explain to you in layman's terms. Get out of the court room. But Judge, I didn't get a chance to explain my. Okay, I don't want to be held in contempt. I'll leave. I didn't really say. Okay, I'm leaving. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with any of you people? Seriously, why does this have to be explained to grown fucking adults? I mean, maybe if you are children, and even then, no, I'm pretty sure if you were children, you will understand that people getting hit in the face does not equate to getting hit in the head with a gimmicked beer can. But nevertheless, though, after this dumb fuck said that to Jim Cornette, obviously Jim Cornette's not going to let that slide, so he snapped back by saying this. Hang on for a second. Let me just scroll a little bit down. You gotta love how the internet typically works. This dumb fuck responds by saying, Jim said, I'd block you for being so stupid, but instead, I'll let the world see it. Giving an unconscious guy brain damage is a receipt? Nobody involved in this fiasco is an entertainer or a pro. And if this lunatic is a fighter, then he knows and should get double time. Also, fuck off. Based. I don't agree with a lot of Jim's opinions nowadays, especially in the political realm, but that's neither here nor there. This right here is just common sense. As I said before, what receipts? Where is the equal force? Okay, what are we doing here? What are we trying to accomplish here? I still don't understand how people are legitimately trying to cover for this in the end of the day. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, has logic completely left the fucking room? Okay? And like people were saying, Jim kind of touched on this too, but I heard everybody else saying this in the comment section, and I absolutely agree. It didn't even dawn on me, yeah, homie's a trained fighter. Like, you should have way more discipline than you're showing right here, right? Like, typically when I see these guys who do MMA, not all, but I would like to say a vast majority. I even think I heard Joe Rogan say something like this, where it's like the whole point in fighting is it's supposed to be a display of how good you are in regards to your mental space. I heard that fighting is more of a mental than it is physical, because it's all about discipline, right? It's about how keyed in you are with how skilled you are. It's not to go around and then use that power to just bully people. That's actually the complete opposite of martial arts. Now, I'm not a martial artist. I'm not a fighter. And I'm not going to pretend to be one, because I'm not. And I'm not trained. And I'm not any of this stuff. I might know some basis from my time in the military, but that ain't nowhere near fucking close to an actual fighter, or even someone who's a day by or a weekend fighter even, right? I'm not even remotely close to those people. But I do understand that 9 times out of 10, if you're going around beating the shit out of people and being a fucking bully, that is the complete antithesis of what it means to be an actual fighter, right? Right? Isn't that the whole point behind the acronym Pride, or the show Pride? I mean, that's the whole definition of that MMA show Pride, as far as what they believe in, as far as their principles in regards to their fighters that they're putting out there to display. It's an art form. The art form involves discipline. This guy did none of that. And just to end it on this note right here, because I want to bring it right back to Rampage Jackson, who I actually believe is the main culprit behind this. Because once again, Raj is 25 years old. Yes, should he be in front of a judge? Should he get life in prison if this guy ends up dying? And if he doesn't die, should he get at least 10 years in prison? Abso-fucking-lutely. But where does this all stem from, okay? Where does this all come from? His parents, his upbringing. That's where it all stems from in the end of the day. You see this guy acting out and being the way that is. Did you see how he responded when he was walking away from the issue initially around that car area when he was talking to Rampage? Rampage was kind of, trying to tell him, hey, bro, you really done fucked up something real. And, the guy was unconscious and you went too far. His response, my bad. While walking back and forth in the parking lot, still breathing heavy, still panting, like he wants to go back there and beat his ass some more. Like, it's insanity. Where did this mentality come from? Where did this upbringing come from? It doesn't help that we're now in this internet sphere, in this internet society that gas this moron up to do something like this. But initially, where did that come from? Rampage, you're an MMA fighter. As I just talked about, as far as discipline, I'm pretty sure you're pretty accurate in the training, right? When you were raising your son, when you were training your son to be a fighter, was that ever instilled inside him? It doesn't seem like it. If he's going out of his way to fight his father, what makes you think he has any respect for anybody who's a fucking civilian? Again, this comes right back to him. Now, don't get it twisted. It comes back to him as far as the root cause, but it does not excuse the fact that he is his own man and he should get strict, harsh punishment. And if you don't believe that, that's because you're a fucking psychopath and you need to really go outside. And I know it's a fucking cliche, but honestly, don't just touch grass. I want you to roll around in the fucking mud like you're a goddamn pig and become one with the fucking ground. You fucking lobotomite loser bitch. Stop covering for this actions. He's a deplorable fucking degenerate. And for anything, if anything, I want to see if he does not get any consequences whatsoever. At least that meets the punishment. I want him to at least get sued into oblivion. I want him to cost his dad so much fucking money that his generation, I want him to be considered an ancestor before his kids start being able to collect any money from their fucking jobs for how badly his dad gets sued because of his dumb fucking actions. And then maybe, just maybe, as you get older, when you hit your 50s, when you're in that cardboard box and you're holding up that sign saying I used to be an MMA trainer or an MMA fighter or whatever the fuck you are nowadays, a streamer MMA fighter, I want you to hold that cardboard up and I want you to walk up and down the streets of LA and I want you to look at every person who's looking at you as this fucking degenerate hobo, and I want you to say to yourself, oh, I'm in this position because when they roll that window up, I'm looking at that guy in the mirror, I'm looking at that guy in the window. Oh, that's why I'm in this position right now. Hobo guy holding up sign, asking for money from a bunch of strangers that I go out of my way to beat up. When they roll up that window, when they tell you to get the fuck away from their car, look at their window so close and see that person in their window and know that's you. Right there, that guy is why you're in that position, you fucking loser. But as always, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and I'll be catching you fine folks later. Deuces and a P. Ice.